Hello, Johnny London here once again, and tonight I'm quite literally letting my hair down, what there still is left of it, and I'm going to have an evening in my cabin. And while I'm doing that, I shall give you a few of my thoughts and a few more sort of details about the build of the cabin and all that sort of thing. But before I lose the light, I just want to have a quick scoot around the outside and show you where I am with it now. Just one or two little tiny updates for you. The side doors, well, I managed to find some handles that I had kicking around, and remember those catches, those annoying little catches that I took off from the front doors? Well, they've found a home now too. And of course, it's exactly the same story on this side, although I still haven't done anything about getting the keys for those pesky locks. I've added one of these, just because I had it kicking around. That meant I had to move that sort of other lock up to there, but that doesn't sort of really do anything anyway. And of course, while I was doing it, I took the opportunity to repaint all the black bits. All the hinges are now sort of properly black again, sort of like that. I can't remember if you even saw the door stays. And something that I did only today, as a matter of fact, I've solved that problem with the birds pooping on my roof. What I've done is I've bought a sort of heavy duty sheet of black plastic, and I've sort of had an idea for obviously laying it over the top and then weighing it down either side by just sort of wrapping it around some long joists of wood to just sort of hold it in place. And that was a pretty simple idea, and the idea was that, you know, as soon as it gets sort of messed up, I can just sort of change it in an hour or two. It took me a bit longer than that to do the first iteration of it, but I think next time I need to sort of refresh that sheet of plastic. I should be able to pull it down, swap a new bit in and put it up quite easily. So that will hopefully solve the problem of all that bird poop burning through the roofing felt. I'll show you that now actually. In the video it sort of looks sort of a bit crinkly and horrible, but in actual fact it looks pretty alright. And the way I've wrapped it, I've done it so that the wrapping goes around the outside of the woods, the extra woods, and up and under, so as not to trap any water anywhere. And what I've done is I wanted the weight of the woods to sort of hold the roof, but in practice I think it was going to pull the wood away from the plastic eventually, so I put a couple of screws in along just to prop the wood. And what I'll do later is I'll swap those for some brackets, and that's just literally not fixed, it's just resting there, and it gives me a little bit more overhang that really I wanted, and it does clear the doors as well. So you know, that's I think that's going to be pretty successful. And I taped the ends there, and again that doesn't look all that glamorous on the camera, but in real life it's pretty unnoticeable. Another thing that I had a go at was I wanted to put a security camera up, and I needed to put it somewhere where it's not going to get messed about with. And so I came up with the idea of using a scaffold pole that I had lying around. So as you can see, I've fixed that to the corner of the cabin. It's not in the best place for really picking up intruders, but I've got nothing else that I can easily put a pole onto, you know, without really sort of making a concrete base or something. And the way I did this was just with a couple of U-clamps, and you know, it's just sort of making the best of what there is really. I did try putting my satellite dish up there, and I had hoped that it was just going to be possible to sort of point it between the roofs of the buildings, but unfortunately it turned out that the satellite was actually a little bit further over than I'd thought it was, and I'd have been pointing it through the trees, which wouldn't have been really a lot of use to me. Maybe it would have worked at this time of year, but I think when they get water on the leaves, it probably wouldn't have worked at all in the winter. So the dish went on the front of the building. A bit ugly, but what can you do? While I was doing that, I also ran a cable all the way down to the cabin. So I've got the satellite TV here now, and obviously I should be enjoying that a little bit later. So anyway, I'm going to head inside the cabin now and crack myself a cold one. Why don't you come with me? Thought I was out for a minute. first one's always a good one, isn't it? So I'm going to have a bit of retro TV tonight, a couple of beers and a delicious salad, keeping it healthy of course, always. And as thoughts come into my head, we'll sort of have a look at various things in the cabin, and I'll sort of go through all that with you as and when. That'll take a while. Already managed to spill half of it down my front. So I thought what I'd do, actually, before we lose too much of the light, I don't know how good this phone's going to be in the sort of half light, I'll show you all the things that I've got so far in the cabin. So let's have a little look around. So I've tried to fill it with just sort of interesting bits and pieces that I probably wouldn't really sort of keep in the house, but things that are nice for out here. I've got a set of juggling balls there. I can't really juggle, but they take me back. Oh, donkey's ears. I used to go out with a girl who was pretty good with those. No jokes, please. Collection of yo-yos there. They're not that vintage. That was from my Camden years. I think yo-yos had a bit of a resurgence. Oh, got a useful book there for anyone a bit Whovian. Things to do with Doctor Who, proper Doctor Who, obviously. And then that's just something I found in the attic. It's one of those little compendiums, and I thought maybe one day I'll be down here with someone and we'll fancy playing a little game. And there it is. Never been used so far, but I've had it for as long as I can remember. I've got a very old spyglass there. Yeah, enough of that. Of course, it's my little oil lamp, and I put some tea tree oil, I think, in there to try and keep the mosquitoes away. And then of course I've got this. No self-respecting cabin would be complete without a slinky. There's no stairs in here for it to go down, but you can always do this with it. Extra playing cards and quiz cards, pop trivia quiz cards, and of course my lovely vintage Sony amp. And I've serviced that all up now, and that's just great, and that's what gives me kind of the vibe that I was looking for in here. Still waiting for the lava lamp to happen, but it will. And there I've got a little fan, and there's a bit of an interesting story to that. I've actually had that fan well, longer than I can remember. All I know about it is that when I was a very little boy, there was someone that my parents knew, and they were clearing out their house, and they brought us some boxes of stuff, because you know, stuff was valuable in those days. If you didn't have things and someone gave you things, it was sort of good. And there's all kinds of old sort of Art Deco bits and pieces really, and they were sort of having a bit of a makeover, and I'm pretty sure that this fan was a part of that, and we never used it, and I don't think it went at the time, and I've carried it around from place to place, box to box, year to year. Somehow I've still got it. Might have been that I picked it up from my dad's attic a few years ago. I'm not quite sure actually, or I might have had it already here. But anyway, when I was up there rummaging for other things, I saw this. I thought that could be quite handy in the cabin, and of course I plugged it in and it didn't go. I say I plugged it in, I had to change the plug first of all. It had one of those old round pin plugs on it. Most people won't even know what I'm talking about, but believe it or not, in the old days, sort of pre-decimalisation, we actually had round pin plugs instead of the square pin plugs that we have today. So I put a plug on it and it didn't go, and So I sort of investigated a bit and managed to undo it all and take the blade off, and all it was where the blade's been made, it's a bit sort of uneven, and probably over the years something had knocked it and pushed it towards the case, and you know, it was just sort of jamming really. So I took the blade off and trimmed up that back bit so it wasn't wonky anymore, and it goes like a good one now. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to get a switch for it, an inline switch on the cable, and the cable, just to show you how old it is, I mean, it's basically speaker cable. You know, where's your double insulation on there? There isn't any. Now over here, that's my satellite TV receiver, and I ran a great big 50-metre cable all the way down from the house up through the attic, because I didn't want to, you know, have it on the exterior of the building too much, and out and sort of around. I got it down here in the end. I've got quite a lot of cables that come down already anyway, so you know, I knew what I was going to do with that. And that's great now. So I've got normal TV and I've got phone and other things, and I've got my satellite, and here I've got some glasses. I'm probably going to do a shelve for those later on, but I was looking for something that I could have down here that was small enough and dainty enough for sort of even red wine, or certainly white wine, and at a pinch big enough for a beer. I mean, you know, it's probably sort of half a pint, or you know, or a gin and tonic really, or even a brandy. I mean, you could pretty much have anything at all you like out of that glass without it sort of feeling too out of place. So I saw those, I was looking for them specifically, I found those in Tesco, and there we go. There's another thing, I think that was in those boxes of stuff. There was a chap called Henty, actually. He'd be long dead now, he won't mind me saying. And I think that was in those boxes. The thermometer's not very accurate, and the barometer bit doesn't really work at all, but I've got a proper barometer indoors, so it doesn't really matter. Tell you what, you need a bit of the old mosquito repellent when you're out here. I've got to go outside to spray this because it doesn't half ponk. I came in too soon. Someone nearly got locked in. I was just thinking about my little Bose speakers I've got in here, and it reminded me that I bought another pair of those this week. Well, Bose, but not the same sort. Some very old sort of vintage ones from sort of like the mid to late 70s, and that's the thing I'm a bit into at the moment. I'm having a bit of a sort of classic hi-fi and speakers tip. I've been on a bit of a speakers tip for a few years now, and what I thought I might do this winter, you know, when it's not really good for walking or DIYing or anything like that, I do like to sort of do music-y type things. I thought what I might do is I might do a few videos about sort of various speakers that I've got. I'm building up a bit of a collection now. I'm not really a sort of hi-fi buff expert on them, but I thought that's something that I hopefully might get into, you know, when the nights start to draw in again in the not too distant future. So if you're interested in that, do let me know. It reminds me very much of being on the boat in here, actually. I think the dimensions are similar. Oh, someone's won a crystal. Just having a nice chat with my son and my granddaughter. Did I tell you I'm 60 now? Last November, actually. Yes. Where does all the time go, eh? Where indeed.
Don't set off the lights.
Oh my God! What is he like?
Okay. Put it down on the box.
Got a bit of a nice treat for myself. Some strawberries and ice cream there, actually. Super nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my God, he set it off again. What is he like?
Okay. So you're going to buy him out? Is that what you want to do? You want to go to the crystal with 5 seconds of time?
No, don't buy him out. He's no good. Here we go. They're doing the crystals now. See how they get on. Oh, these are nice. I've got an absolute stone cold classic for tonight. Haven't seen it for donkey's years. Check this out. I've been watching a lot of sort of what I would call nostalgia stuff over the last sort of year or two. Now, I suppose you get to a certain stage and you just want to re-watch things, because, you know, normally I don't watch films when I've seen them because I think I've seen that, but then some of them you think, I haven't seen it for 10 years or 20 years or 30 years or 40 years or 50 years, and you think, yeah, it'd be nice to sort of go back and, you know, sort of re-watch some of those things. Some of them work and some don't. And just another little thing I wanted to show you. I've got these numbers. I've got one on each side of the cabin here. Those are my old narrowboat numbers. The actual plaques, the actual sort of aluminium plaques that I got. When I left the boat, I put transfer numbers on the side. Obviously, with these, you have to, you know, drill holes and screw them in. Yeah, then everything rusts. So I didn't want to do that. But you know, they make a pretty nice souvenir, don't they? That was a cracking film. Bit dated, but not too bad actually. Well, I think that's it for me for now. I'm going to go in and grab myself a few Zeds. See you next time.